Hope for tomorrow, good enough today. Oh yeah, hope for tomorrow, good enough today.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Good Enough Today, the podcast where I share stories from people who are showing up authentically, even when life gets tough. I'm your host, Cheremma Lee, and I'd like to say, hey, it's been a while since I've been on, and the podcast has been re-airing prior episodes. And I know that I told you guys that I'd be back. I was tired, but it turns out I was actually feeling really, really bad. And I've been struggling these last few weeks, or really the last few months, to just get through the day. And so I decided that maybe it would be time for me to welcome you guys into this journey so that you can see how I'm living the Good Enough Today journey and mantra in my everyday life. So we're going to change the format a little bit for Good Enough Today, where we talk about topics that are relevant to what I have going on, but also how I am showing up and trying to work through me feeling like I'm good enough today, even in my current form. So what does that look like moving forward? That means I'll have some guests talking about some topics, but I really rely on you guys to be able to give me feedback and share with me your stories so you can go on this journey with me. Now, I have to be honest. Of course, if you listen to the podcast, you know that I am not comfortable with vulnerability in myself. I don't like to talk up myself a lot, and my story to me is not that interesting. But what I hope is that as I share and we go through this journey, you guys will be able to see some things in me and help me on my journey, and I can help you on yours, because every day we're all doing the best that we can. Now, one of the things that I have to recognize as we move forward, that I'm not always as comfortable and ready for vulnerability in the way that you guys might be wanting. So sometimes I might not share information that might be relevant to what's going on. It's just that I'm not ready yet. But as we progress, hopefully we can learn each other, and I will become more comfortable talking about what's going on and how I am progressing through this journey. But let's talk about where I am right now. At the moment, I am moving very, very slowly, right? I haven't been doing good enough today. I had all of these things that I planned to do for this new year, new me. I was ready to take good enough today to the next level. And then boom, everything that I thought that I was ready to do, I just couldn't do anymore. My body was like, no, we're finished. And I kept getting tired and more tired. And of course, I always had pain, but it was worse than normal. And so things that were working just weren't working anymore. And for me, I am used to just pushing, pushing, pushing. And as you know, before I was closing my rings every day. Like, it was my only obligation was to make sure I close those rings so that I can tell this illness that I had that I beat it. I wanted to make sure that I won and know that I won. And as we progressed into this year, I started to recognize that it was very, very difficult for me to walk. I could walk and go where I need to go, but it's hard. It was hard for me to continue to try to close those rings. And I had to recognize, like, wait a second, is this serving me well? I have this inclination, this determination, this motivation to continue to do this, and I can, but maybe it's going to kill me in the interim. And is it worth it? Is what I'm trying to prove? Do I still have to prove what I thought I did? Have I done it already? And am I pushing my body to a point where there's no reason for me to keep going in this manner if my body can't respond and do the things that I know and love? And so, that being said, I am no longer closing my rings. I try to walk here and there, but if I'm being honest, to try to walk a mile is a little bit more difficult than it was before. And I think that that's part of the progress, right? In understanding where I am and whether or not it's good enough in the moment. So let's talk about the new year, new you. I know it's a little late, but do you really need a new you? That's something that I have to come to terms with. Now, me and this version of myself is a different me. It's a refined me in a way that I am not completely comfortable with, because I still think that I can go ride my bike for 20 miles. And my body will say, nah, that's not going to happen today. Or it might not happen for a few days. So do I really need a new me? Or am I just refining myself as I move forward at a very slow pace? And I think that's something for us to think about. Like, when we're trying to progress and be the best versions of ourselves, what is the cost? Are you giving up things that make you who you are that lead to the essence of what makes you great, that leads you to your purpose. And that's something that I have to think about because I can make my mind up about something. And even though I've argued with people about me being stubborn or that I'm not stubborn, which might actually be an indication that I am pretty stubborn. Anyway, I digress. The point is that sometimes dedicating yourself to something that is not actually in your best interest at that moment will not yield the results that you think it will. And I think that we have to be very careful about the new you in the new year or the new year as you're trying to progress, because what is it for? Why are you doing it? What's your why? If you develop the why that produces the person that you believe that God has led you to be, then yes, move forward. But that's not going to happen overnight. And I am working through that journey as I move forward because I expect to wake up tomorrow and to feel a little bit better. And sometimes I'll wake up the next day and I feel a little bit worse. And that's frustrating. And I have to recognize that, you know what? That's not, I can't be so harsh on myself. You know, one day I was sitting in the bed and I was like, oh man, I've been laying around for a long time. It's the weekend. I've laid around all day. I don't know why I'm being so lazy. And then I thought to myself, maybe I wouldn't consider myself a lazy person generally. So maybe I'm laying around in bed because I'm tired and I don't feel well. And if that's the case, then what do I need to do to put myself in a better position to win? So as we're figuring out this new you, new me, and the things we want to get better at, then let's think about the things that right now we're good enough. Because sometimes you compare yourself to the old you and you're not recognizing the progress that's being made in the middle. I'm preaching to you guys, but I'm also preaching to myself because these are things that I actively have to work on every day. I just have a very, very difficult time thinking about, hey, you know what? I want to wake up in the morning and go do this walk where I see the sunrise, and I want to walk the trail that I normally walk. And I want to do these things. I want to twist my hair if I want to. I want to be able to live the life that I want to live right now. And even as we're making that progress and turning into the things that we want to do, it's not going to be immediate, right? And so what does your good enough look like in this moment, at this time? And right now, as I speak to you guys, part of me is my good enough is just getting on here and being able to talk to you about what's happening. Because the more I talk about it, the more real it is for me. And that's a great thing, but it's also not a great thing in my eyes because the more real it is, the more I have to face that there are limitations that I might not be comfortable with. But again, you guys are going to come on this journey with me and you'll see how I progress and I become more vulnerable, but also the struggles that I have about being good enough. And I can believe and think that I'm good enough, but then tomorrow we have to start all over. I start from zero. And is my effort and the things that I'm doing good enough today? And I think that the more that I talk to myself and the way that I would talk to other people is recognizing that even when things get tough, you can remain hopeful for tomorrow, but understand that you are good enough today. I'll see you guys soon.
Hope for tomorrow, good enough today. Oh yeah, hope for tomorrow, good enough today.